Welcome back to Champ Talk with Branden Hudson. We are back in action, ready to talk some shit. Oh, there I go. Already cussing right off the jump. Guys, like all the time, I ask you guys, if you get value out of this episode or you know somebody that will get value out of this episode, please share it with them. You know, give us a review. I don't care about me. I don't want to hear about all the stuff that I'm doing or all that. Just tell us about what's working or how this has impacted your life or what you want to hear us talk about. You know what I mean? We've got a wide variety of guests. You know, I say some dumb shit all the time, but this is how we get recognized in the search engine. And again, we want to just provide value and do what we can do to help. So again, hit the like and subscribe button or give us a review on any platform that you listen to. We're on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Champ Talk. It's all, or excuse me, Facebook, all the good things. So just hit us up. And today I have a special guest, man. I've been trying to get this guy on for a while. We just kind of been, it's been in my brain in and out when I schedule. Had an unfortunate but a fortunate conversation. But anyway, got him on here. I'm super excited to have him. And I think you guys are going to really love this episode. I got AJ Angello in here. How you doing today, brother?
What's up, man? I'm so good. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. So AJ owns A4 Training. It's a specialized performance-based training, sports training that he does here locally. What you been up 3 years or 2?
It'll be 4 in August.
4?
Yep.
Jesus,
I know,
dude.
right? Time flies.
Gosh.
I was thinking about it on the way over here. I was like, damn, it's been a minute already.
Dude, 4 years
Crazy.
that you've been up and running. It's you got a beautiful, you know, I haven't seen it in person, but I've seen it online. You got a beautiful facility. You've got the turf, and dude, you are impacting lives like crazy right now, man. It's really cool to watch because, you're what, 25,
24.
24 years old.
Yes, sir.
And it's incredible to watch like your passion and the things that you bring to the table. You're very, I'm just trying to do the intro right, man. You're a very humble guy. You're super athletic, super in shape, and you help everybody, and I think that's really, really remarkable. Because you took a vision and you're running with it, and it's doing really well, man. So tell us about A4. Let's get your business out of the way.
I think
first.
you hit it on the head right there. I was lucky enough to know, like, growing up what I wanted to do. Like, I knew I always wanted to be a personal trainer of some sort, own a gym. But I think, like you said, it was just kind of had the vision, and then it was just like, let's just do it. And it's turned into what it is now. And I think the biggest part of everything we do is just how rewarding, like, impacting people's lives is, whether it's sports performance or like general population clients that are dealing with whatever, like osteoporosis or something like that, helping them build their bone mineral density up. It's just so rewarding. And I think, too, the grind of being a business owner and trying to be a coach and all the other things, family life, everything, it gets a little crazy. But sometimes when you take a step back and you're like, all right, like, I helped this person get to, like, just even one person get through a hard point in their life or get healthy or whatever it is. That's just so rewarding. It feels so good. It makes it all worth it. And then you're like, all right, I'm ready to get back after it. So heck yeah. But at A4, we do sports performance is like our biggest thing, like high school, middle school athletes, but we do everything. We have clients that are 70 years old. We have clients that are 7, 8 years old, just trying to, exercise, learn how to move their bodies. So it is cool to kind of have that variety. And sports performance is definitely like, that's the meat and potatoes. Yeah. That's the fun part, but everything else is great. And I think it's more rewarding, maybe so with some of the other clients, but I think we do keep a good variety.
Well, this is exactly why I wanted you on the show, because our paths are very similar. I do MMA. We have an MMA gym. You know what I mean? All that good stuff. But dude, and that's the meat and potatoes. That's the passion. But dude, I find so much just like fulfillment and purpose in helping people.
Definitely.
Out of the 300 plus members, that we have here, right? 0.5% are actual competitors and fighters, right? So, the bulk of the people are people that are trying to improve their lives.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And I know you'll feel the same way. I look at this as a personal development vessel that we use combat sports 100%. Through. So similar to what you're doing is the same way. And that's why I wanted to have you on here, because I think that it's so remarkable. I'll tell you what else. For those who don't know, your mother is Sandy Angelo. She owns Pohanka. Yep. In my opinion, probably one of the most powerful people, let alone women, in Salisbury. She's created the curriculum for business, or helped create the curriculum for business over at SU. You guys have your facility is on that property. You know what I mean? And what's cool about that, and and this is what I love, because there's so many dualities here, man. Is, you know, we would say you wouldn't have to do all that. Why don't you go work for your mom? Why don't you go get into cars, right? I know your brother does, and things like that. Why don't you go do this? You know, and there's an old saying: if you want to make money, or if you don't want to make money, start a gym, right? Because it's a grind. But you chose not to. You're just like you said. Your passion was it for, you know, early on. And you decided that, you know what I mean, this is not what I want to do, you know, and went after your passion. And that, to me, just speaks volumes of the character and of the vision of where you're going with your business and just with the city or the community, excuse me. You know, why do all that? Like,
so that's a good question. I feel like, there's, you know, like the disc profile test, you know what that is?
Of course.
Yeah. So I feel like
I learned it from your mom.
100% same. But people are kind of driven towards different things. And I've never really been, I don't know if it's just growing up like around the car business. Like I've never really been like a big, like I need like a lot of money, right? Like, obviously it's nice to make a lot of money, would love to. But my biggest driver is always helping people. Like, I'm always like a people first person. That's just how I've always been since I was like super empathetic, which sometimes isn't, you know, the best in business, but you live and you learn. But I think just always having that drive and just wanting to see other people succeed. And like at this point now, I'm still young, but I've been through a lot. So being able to teach people, especially younger kids, what I've been through and how to work hard and how to deal with hardships and get through tough times in life, I think so amazing. And that's way more rewarding to me than selling cars. Is not something I want to do. Like, more power to them. You want to sell cars, sell cars.
Yeah,
but that's just not something I ever want to do. And I've always had that question, like, why don't you just sell cars? Especially like coming out of college and stuff, or when I was first starting college, what do you want to do? Sell cars? I'm like, nope. I want to be a gym owner, which is, like you said, are like, all right.
Well, you know, I feel that because I work with, everybody knows I work with Branden Brittingham's team, the Maryland and Delaware group, and that's a real estate team, big real estate team.
Heck yeah.
Awesome. They do so much. I've gotten so much personal growth with them, and I'm not a realtor. Yeah. Right. And everybody's like, why don't you get your real estate license? I don't want to be in the office all day. You know, I love being in the gym.
100%.
When I'm in the office, you know, those few days a week, you know, I'm like, there's so much pent up energy that's like needs to move. Like, I don't need to like do push-ups or done. I'm just like, I don't know what to do with it. Like, I gotta go because I'm people driven as well. You know what I mean? And that's something that I really, you know, I get my cup filled from that. And I'm assuming you're
100%
similar. Yeah.
And honestly, on the same too, I was just talking about it with a couple clients this morning. Like, I've always just been like full of energy. Like, literally one of my clients this morning was like, we need to get you tested. Like, for like, what are you on? I'm like, dude, I've just always been like super energetic. I don't think I could work in like office setting. I also hate like dress clothes. So I could not be wearing the suit all the time. I love wearing my gym clothes, and I love just being on my feet all day.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
What sports did you play growing up?
I played soccer, I guess, when I was little. I feel like everyone does. But I played baseball and football mostly, and then football was the one I followed kind of to the end. And then
you played for Del Mar, correct?
Yeah.
And you help out Del Mar a lot with what they're going on in their program.
Definitely.
Which I always, man, dude, I'm a Wahai guy. So there was years ago where Wahai played Del Mar. Yeah. But back when way back in the day, they fucking they would fight on every fucking fight. I mean, they would battle, right? Crazy. And they just stopped it. They wouldn't let them play anymore. And I always wanted to play Del Mar, and I always hated Del Mar being in Wahai. But then as I obviously matured and grew up, I just, dude, you have to appreciate and give Del Mar the credit, man. They say if you want to break into somebody's house, don't do this. You go on a football night, because everybody in town is at the game, man. And it's so cool, man, to watch the city come together, the camaraderie come together. Definitely. And obviously that's probably because if you're like me, a lot of my grit and my toughness came from football.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Definitely,
like, you know, everybody's like, you were such a badass fighter. No, I'm just fucking, I can get my beat up really well. My grit came from football, man. You know, my coach Dave Nettle, was one of the best coaches I've ever had. You know what I mean? He really pushed us and put us into a place where, like, you know, just made us tough. I was a lineman. So what values did you take and what stuck with you with Del Mar and the Wildcat Pride and all the things that you guys done that passes along now?
I don't know what it is about that community, man, but it's just like once you get in it, it's like you can't get out. And it's not like I would want to. I'd love being a part of that community, and it's great. I was actually out there this morning. We're doing like a summer conditioning camp out there in the mornings with like a lot of the field hockey, soccer players. So it's been super cool. But I think I went there in 8th grade. I went to Salisbury School. I went to private school growing up, and then went there. And it's just like as soon as I got there, it was just I had one friend when I got there. And for me, like, it was kind of weird. It's like coming from like a super small class. I was like, oh my gosh, like what's going to happen? But he kind of introduced me to some of his friends, and now like we still have the same friend group since then. So that's just a perfect example in itself of the connection you build there. And I'm still super tight with all the coaches. I'm just getting to the point where like I don't call him coach anymore today, call him by their first name maybe. But yeah, dude, it's just that community is something special, and it's great just to see all like the businesses too in the area. People that are alums just go back and support, whether it's through donations or however they can give, whatever they can give to that school, man, and that community. It's amazing.
Yeah, man, they really went through some really tough times here the past few years with some of the losses that they have and things. Did that affect you?
Yeah, definitely.
Tough? Yeah.
But it was great to have the support. I think the community all being around. I knew some of those kids personally, but we obviously had kids that we were training at the time that knew them personally. So I think that was also a really big thing for us is being able to support those kids, even if it's not working out. If it's working out and they can get through their workout at that point, that was great. But just being someone they can talk to that isn't at home or, you know what I mean, someone like something different than the same people they see all the time. That was awesome. And that's one of those things you're talking about where it's just so rewarding. Like obviously you don't want to be in that situation. It's terrible, but being able to be there for someone like that, I think that's really what it's all about.
Absolutely. Shifting gears, excuse me a little bit. I can't talk today for some reason. We kind of touched on it a little bit while we were talking before the show, man. What are one would say, with your background and with, your family and all that stuff that, you should probably know this with no problem. What are some of the biggest lessons and oh shit moments that you learned in business that you didn't think about or realize as you're growing? Because 4 years is pretty good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 2 years, 2 years tough. Of course. But what are some of the things hit you blindsided? You didn't realize things that you learned along the way.
That's a good question. I think for me, just like we always have that growth mindset. That's something that I teach my coaches, obviously, whether it's for our athletes or the gym itself. But I think early on, I tried to grow a little too fast. Kind of like we were just talking about too, but you make one decision and then you get more equipment or some big purchase, and then you gotta pay that back, but you also gotta get the revenue coming in to be able to do that. So I think there's been a couple of times like the turf was a big one for sure, but it definitely was worth it in the long run. But there's a little bit of time there where like maybe we should have planned this out a little bit better, but it ended up working out. And then just bringing on coaches too, like we get a lot of interns from Salisbury. And sometimes, we get such good ones. It's like, man, like I want them to be a part of what we're doing and they want to be a part of what we're doing, but we don't always have room for a ton of extra coaches. So trying to bring them in and find ways for them to work. We've had a little bit of issues with that here and there.
Sure.
But I just love what we're doing. I think everyone that's part of it loves the culture there too. So they want to be. So it's just kind of tough sometimes to be like, all right, like how many coaches do we really need for the schedule and that type of deal? But other than that, it's been pretty good. I don't think there's really been any other big like oh shit moments that I can think of off the top of my head. There probably has been many little ones. Probably today already. There's been a couple, but those are probably some of the bigger ones.
There's fires right now just being here at this podcast.
Yeah. What might be actually that's probably a really good one is for me. Maybe not an oh shit moment, but I've kind of like I guess you could call me a control freak. Like I've gotten away from it. I guess quite a bit of control freak and being able to kind of like hand off more responsibilities to the other coaches and my managers and stuff and be like, all right, like I can step away for a little bit and you guys can handle this. It's really tough for me because I really like to be involved in everything when I really don't need to be.
Well, it's also just, your baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
dude,
like
yes.
this is so and like I remember when I got married, by the way, congratulations.
Thank you.
Recently married, you know what I mean?
Appreciate
so that's awesome, man. But I remember when I got married and we got married in Hawaii. Okay. And so we it was just after COVID. Luckily, we survived through COVID here at the gym because not many gyms did.
Yeah, no.
And then we did the expansion, right? So kind of a lot of things were happening, but we got a good deal on Hawaii. So we had like a destination wedding.
Heck yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it was a deal. We flew first class. I mean, we took advantage of points and everything. I mean, it was cool. It was a great experience. Good experience. But man, dude, I was like, shit in my pants, worried about what the business was going to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, dude, I'm going to be gone for 10 days. You know what I mean? Because it's our baby and we've got everything right on the line and our 100%. Reputation's on it, our risk on it and everything. And so many entrepreneurs and business owners miss that. So many of them, they miss the fact that if you leave and you've got the right team, it won't burn down. Nothing will happen.
100%.
You'll be fine and the business should grow. What lessons did you learn when you left your business for the first time?
Dude. That everything's gonna be all right, and I can trust my guys for sure. But yeah, that was tough. We just went on our honeymoon to Jamaica for a week, and at this point, I'm definitely a little more trusting, obviously. But it still was kind of hard. Like I'm sitting there sending texts like everyone's like, "How's everything going?" And they're like telling me like, "Don't bring nothing for work," and I'm still sitting there doing shit because I can't stay away from it. But yeah, that's just the biggest thing, and I definitely it's something we talk about too when we do like orientation and stuff for new coaches is trust and accountability and that type of thing. So it goes the same way for us as CEOs, whatever. You gotta be able to trust your guys and know that they'll pull through for sure.
So as you're talking, it sounds like you're doing a lot of leadership development, and you have a lot of
100%.
systems and processes in play to gain, you know what I mean, to make sure that you're selling the culture. Is that something that's working? I mean, obviously the vibe and the mindset and all that stuff's working, but talk about your culture right now. Talk about what's working with that. Like who's the guy? I mean, obviously, if I had to guess, and I'm just going to ask just for our listeners, the viewers, if I had to guess, I'm sure you're the culture leader. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It starts at the top down, but you have to also have people in play that
100%.
sell that same culture. Talk about that, man. What does that look like there? How does that stay enforced? How do the people stay, continuing to stay motivated to being on the culture and things like that? And obviously, this is something like, look, your whole facial expression changed, right? So this is something you're very passionate about, which I love because I'm huge on culture.
Definitely.
That's literally my job at the Maryland Delaware Group. You know what I mean? In here. So talk about that.
Hell yeah. So I think just starting off, so when I first started A4, it was just me at first for like a month. And then I brought down a fellow intern. I did an internship at Yale Sports Performance, which was where I learned most of the shit I know. But she actually came down, moved down here with us for like 2 years, helped me run the gym. And then we've grown since. But I think when you bring those new people in, just like having that conversation, like having those clients that already kind of bought into the culture and then other clients, athletes come in and they kind of see those people as leaders, and then it kind of just trickles down, like you said. But it definitely like started with me because I was the first one there. But now with like our two managers, Parker and Ben, they do the same thing. And everyone at A4, all the coaches kind of have like their own style. Like everyone, like I'm a little bit goofy, but I can like get in your ass if I need to. Coach Ben's like super goofy. He's kind of the same way. He can get upset if he needs to, but he's like really fun. And he brings the energy. So everyone's kind of got like their own little thing, which I think's cool. But I think the athletes see that and they kind of like find where their personality fits in with that, and then they take it and run with it. And seeing just like the confidence, dude, and some of these athletes that come in that are maybe they're not the best athlete in the world, but they come in and they're just like hands in pockets, won't talk to nobody. And then like 2 weeks later, they're making jokes, like crazy jokes, stupid ass jokes. But you're like, dude, like that's what I want to see.
Bringing value to your gym.
And it sounds dumb sometimes, like you talk to people about it, but like those, it's just like having the confidence, just like tell a joke or like what, I don't know. It's just crazy seeing some of them come in, dude, and they won't say anything. And then they're just messing around 2 weeks. And then, that trickles into like their normal lives at school or whatever on whatever team they're playing with and stuff like that. So knowing you can have that effect on someone, especially so quick, is amazing.
Yeah, dude, I love that you said that because that is culture. Yeah. Like that's, you can get that after, years or a couple months or whatever. But when you have it very quickly, where these kids feel trusting, they feel they're, you see them, they're closed in, shoulder, arms crossed, 100%. They don't want to mess with nobody, hood on or something shit like that. And then all of a sudden they're opening up, and that's a huge testament to exactly who they're learning from, the leadership down. You know what I mean? Exactly. And I love that shit, man. I think it's great. I think personally, I think Google was like the first real company that I can remember that brought culture in the workspace to everyone's attention. You know what I mean? Because, before then it was just like bust your ass, work this, go to this job and go home and then do it all again tomorrow. But now you're seeing like, real companies, and everybody is adopting how important culture is. Some people take it a little too far with like,
definitely
fucking safe spaces and naps and shit. But, overall, man, I mean, having that ability on kids and on the community, is something that I think, gets really overlooked, and people undervalue how important that is, right? For me, you know what I mean, one of the things that I would look at as a martial arts instructor, combat sports instructor is, all right, how do I get out of this? Right? That was my question. Like when I was a personal trainer, I was like, I'm chasing the hour, right? Like I do, some months you're 25 clients, right? Rocking, spend, fucking, balling out, right? And then like the next month, 3 people can't afford it. They're not in, that affects your income quite significantly, right? So you finding that ebbs and flow and where your baseline is, but then also taking advantage of the highs and pivoting the lows are important. But I realized, like, dude, I'm going to be chasing this hour. And then that transmuted over into the teaching classes, right? And I was like, well, all the martial arts gyms and instructors that I saw, dude, they're not going to be able to get out of this.
Yeah.
They're going to be stuck on the mats, or they're going to have to give it off to some, one of their students who probably doesn't have any money, either, or any kind of way to buy it. Or where's the legacy? How do you get out of this? How do you get, like, quote unquote, a pension or retirement or anything like that? And that's the biggest eye. So then here's where I'm connecting the dots on that. So then I saw that and I was like, oh shit. Well, now I started preparing for that. Right. And then now I've come full circle. I realized, well, wait a minute, my cup filler is on the mats. Right. Yeah. So I want to be on the mats. I want to create induce the culture. I want to be the leader of that. Because that's where I'm best at. Yeah. I'm best in front of the class, goofing off, getting into people's asses, being fucking, the coach. Yeah. But yet you got to think about those other things. You know what I mean? We're going to pause real quick for our sponsor real quick. Guys, this episode is brought to you by Pohanka of Salisbury. Couldn't do that if, without you being here. We just want to give them a big shout out, man, for all your automotive needs. You know what I mean? New car, used car, all makes brands. They can get them anywhere. They can work on them and all the stuff. Pohanka has been a huge, huge supporter of us for a long time. You know what I mean? So we want to give a shout out to them and make sure you hit them up. So switching gears, right? We're talking about community. We're talking about, Del Mar. We're talking about your why. You tried to run into political office at one point too, right? That was like 2 years ago, right?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So
I think.
So you were 21 years old, talking politics, right? What did you try to run and talk about that?
I ran for county council.
Why?
In Wycomico County, dude. I think with COVID and everything, I think everyone kind of. I mean, obviously everything's like so polarized right now. Yeah. Which I don't agree with, but I think all of that kind of opened people's eyes. It's a different thing, whatever their belief system is, but you kind of just get so wrapped into it and. Actually, it was a podcast I was listening to. I don't know if you listened to it. It's Andy Frisell. It's called Real AF.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
But I started listening to that around that time during COVID, and he had called basically everything that's happened with COVID. So I was kind of like, all right. And he was always saying, like, you need to do something in your community. If you want to see change, like, don't sit around and bitch about it. Go do something. So I'm like, dude, I don't know the first fucking thing about politics, but let me get in here and try to learn something. I think even just me going in, just like business, like there's a little bit of competition kind of makes people that are in there that are going to try to get voted back in also be like, all right, I need to get my shit. Yeah. I don't want this 21-year-old to come in and, basically whip my ass.
Disrupt
which didn't happen.
Disrupt the whole way of things.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think that's really where it came from, which is like, I want to serve my community in another way too. Obviously with the gym, and we just talked about that, but, helping build people's lives, especially younger kids coming in and just getting confidence, just learning skills, I think is great. But also like the actual, I guess, government side of things. And I always believe that government, you're supposed to be in and be out. Like you go in, you serve your time, you get out. So my plan, if I might run again, I don't know. If I do, it's not going to be a long-term thing. I'll be in there, make some changes that I want to see, and then let the next person get in there. I think that's part of the problem, but I digress.
No. I wanted to talk about that because I'm curious about that, because clearly you made some mistakes or learned a lot, I should say, 100%, in the beginning, which is how else do you learn? Yeah. Right? People are so scared of failure and mistakes, man. It's like, dude, it's the only way you learn. But, excuse me, what you say, you say, you may run in, you may not. I mean, you probably got a passion for it and you sound like you want to make a change. And, I can speak from my experience, you know what I mean? I'm not going to, back in my day, I got kids your age, right? Yeah. So, I have seen seasons, right? But at the same time, we tend to have new and other things that we want to be involved in, and where you're such a people-driven person, business owner, entrepreneur, come from a successful entrepreneur. You know what I mean? You have the mindset of so many great things, and then you also have a passion for wanting to see things change. We're not talking if, we're probably talking probably. Right? Yeah. And I think that's great because, so many politicians started with like sports or acting backgrounds, right? So, I think that's one of the great attributes of a good politician is when they have that kind of background to understand community, understand how to be around different people and respect and hear different people and understand, different things. So, I look forward to, I have, Ben Jordan, was on my pod. He's a good friend of mine. And, he's the mayor of Del Mar. And, we got talking about it, and you got all the stuff that's going on downtown right now with that kind of stuff with the mayor and the buying and stuff like that.
Yep.
It's just like most people just don't know what the fuck is going
Exactly.
on.
I think
So just like you said, you look on Instagram or Facebook and it's polarized. It's like, well, you know, the mayor is this. Well, the other side is that. And everybody's like, you know, slinging
grabbing
mud.
at something they heard.
Yes,
too,
dude. Yes. And what's the truth, right?
Exactly.
What's really
I think
going
AI
on?
just adds to that too.
Oh gosh, dude.
I could talk about it forever, but yeah, it's so hard to know. It's true. Already it was before AI, but now it's like, holy crap, dude.
Well, I'm a big believer in social media and social media marketing. I'm also I also smack it in the face and laugh at it and give it the finger because it's not real.
Yeah.
It's not real.
Yep.
You know, remember this. And dude, I think I put a post out today. We saw, in my opinion, we saw a lot of true colors come out here this month of June, right?
Yeah.
Between Pride Month, between Juneteenth, between the politics and all your fucking social media influencers that are starting to be exposed, like, you know, what's going on with the Liver King thing right now, stuff like that, right?
Crazy.
And what's sad about that, right? And I'm not trying to make, I talked about it, I'm not trying to make like a mockery of him.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to get clicks or people, you know, I know we got millions of followers, but, you know, I'm not trying to get clicks or nothing for that.
Yeah.
What's sad is you're watching somebody just, in my opinion, kind of just, you know, disintegrate right in front of our eyes, right? You're seeing them get caught up in the hype of fame and the hype of this alternate reality that we call social media. And you're seeing, you know, and it is Men's Health Month, you know what I mean? And so, but then you're also seeing people like with the politics and all this shit. Like, dude, it's so crazy to me how people take this world that is not really real and just take it and go so far with it. And I was having this conversation the other day, like, we're not seeing any of this stuff in our everyday life.
Yeah.
I'm not saying stuff don't happen. And I'm not saying there's not change that's needed.
Yeah.
But I don't see all this fucking bigotry and all this homophobia. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But it ain't happening around me.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. I mean, do you ask anybody about their color, race, gender, religion?
Don't really care.
Who they fucking No. Hey, you're going to sweat like the rest of us, right? You're going to come in here, you're going to bust your ass, and guess what? Bring something to the team.
100%.
And I'm assuming you don't allow any of that shit to go on.
No.
So it's one of those things, like, we don't ask anybody when they come into the gym, you know, who you pray to, who you voted for, where you work. We're all going to tap and 100%. Choke out and bleed the same way,
exactly.
right? And I think it's great that people like yourself, that young, ambitious, see it, get it, and want to make a change, man. And you know what I mean? I'm all in, you know, with any kind of support that I can give you and help out. And we can always have you back on and talk about that too.
That would be awesome.
For me, this is something I've been saying. I'll probably get in trouble for this, right? But if you're, here's where I'm at, right? If you're not center right or center left, you're really omit to me.
Yeah.
Right. You need to have one. For me, I think, and I'm not a big into politics. You know, I'm more of a people person, but it's either center right or center left. It's none of this Democratic Republic. It's none of this far this. It's not all that dumb shit. Because here's what I think, and I don't mean to take your shine, but
no, go ahead.
Here's what I think, right? I think that there is a vast majority of us that look at both sides and we're like, hey, man, that stuff on the right makes sense for me. And I like that. Oh, and that stuff on the left makes sense for me. I like that. And this just makes sense. And this just seems like it's best for everyone.
Yeah.
Right? So, but here's the problem is those are the folks that aren't represented. Because
they're the majority.
And they're the majority.
Yeah. I think the problem with that is it's literally like, it's coming to the point where it's like you got like teams, right? Like you got a football team. Who's your football team?
Redskins, baby.
Yeah. So like you're gonna root for the Redskins no matter what. I feel like that's kind of where we come.
Sorry, the Commanders. My bad. My bad. I did it on purpose.
I rolled with it. I didn't pay attention. But yeah, so you got like people that are probably have been Democrats for a while or whatever, and same with Republicans and whatever. I feel like the parties have shifted so much now. But you're like, all right, I'm a Democrat, and everything that your Democratic politicians say, like, all right, you know, I support that, whether you do or not. Yeah. And then same with the Republicans. So I think that's part of the problem now, especially with social media. I think that just enhances that, right? That like team mentality. Like, all right, I got to get behind this. Whether it's true or not, or you don't even, like, so many people don't even pay attention. It's like, see something that someone they like posts, and then like, all right. Yeah. And then they'll freaking fight it out with someone on social media. They don't know shit about, you know what I mean? Not at all. So I don't really get into stuff like on social because I honestly just don't have a ton of time to dive deep into everything. I'd love to. And I do try to as much as I can, but I'm not going to sit here and argue with someone when I don't know exactly what's going, you know what I mean? No, well, you lose either way. So, yeah, 100%. Because 100%. No matter what you have, and I've learned this the hard way, not with necessarily politics, but like, you know, we're competitive in the gym space, right? And I've had my share of hate and my share of shit. And listen, I've told everybody this. If somebody's ever said something bad about me,
Ask him what started it.
Yeah.
Ask him what started it, right? Because we'll get to the bottom of the meat potatoes then, and I guarantee it ain't gonna be me. And if it is gonna be me, it's gonna be some bullshit fabricated story. Because, dude, I've always been the same time. Look, there's enough for everybody.
Yeah.
We all. Now, have I responded always the best way and always the most practical way? I would say no, because one, I didn't know no better. We're in a competitive world. We're in business. First of all, that's competitive as hell, and I'm in business to win.
Yeah.
I'm not in business to do anything else. But also, we're supposed to be in a tough guy sport. So I thought that that's what we did, right? And so I should have responded better. But either way, no matter if I was right or wrong, whatever my response was is always going to be taken both ways, right? You don't win. The internet is undefeated.
Yeah.
So you utilize it for marketing, you utilize it for putting good out in the world,
100%, exactly.
and maybe some awareness, you know what I mean? Because I do like to pay attention, but I'm not arguing with nobody on the fucking internet,
Same.
you know what I mean?
Way.
So I think that's really cool, AJ, that you're doing that, man, and I'm really excited about that because, the passion, and here's something else I'm excited for, is, you got married. I don't know what your plans are, but I'm assuming, you know what I mean? You want to give Sandy some grandbaby someday, right? Okay, so, and man, it just changes when you have children. I've been a father since I was 19 years old, right? So I grew up as a baby with a baby, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But being a father now, so I got 3 daughters. My youngest is 18, 24, 25, and 18.
Okay.
And now I have a 2-year-old.
Gotcha.
And I'm in a different season in life now.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm seeing so much more differently now what I saw back then. And even back then, it changed.
Yeah.
So, it's great to wrap it up, or to wrap that point up. It's great to see that, because I know that as seasons go on, you're responsible for your family now.
100%.
You're going to grow a family. You're going to do so many great things in your life. I can't wait to watch, what you do and how you do it, man. So I wanted to mention that because I thought that was worth mentioning. Shifting gears, I had Cody Revel on the on the show.
I watched that one too. It was awesome.
And I think we talked about your shout you out or said something. I know we've had many conversations, but you guys have thrown some stuff back and forth and tried to collab. He's got his performance-based company, and I just love what he talks about, and you're the same way. There's so much for everybody, right?
I think you guys were talking about on the pod. Yeah, I was literally like agreeing with y'all, shaking my head.
And he talks about all the things. Like, man, you and him have talked a lot. You have collabed a lot.
We played a flag football league together. That was awesome at Crown.
Yeah,
it was super cool. It was like a couple of my coaches and me, and then him and a couple of his coaches. It was pretty fun.
It's amazing because you have like this. You have this. We're competitive. We're in business.
Yep.
We want to make as much money as we can. We want to help as many lives as we can.
Exactly.
We want to set up our family. We want to set up our legacy. We got all these whys, right?
Yeah.
And Cody does very well. Love his energy. But here's why I bring this up. Y'all's energy is the same. 2 completely different type of people.
Yeah.
Completely different type of people, right? Cody's more like, he's the analytical mindset to the things. You're like the person and things like that. You both have your strengths and stuff like that 100%. On both ends. But you share a common value that I appreciate and I love. And it's like, abundance. Abundance mindset. Like, let's help everyone.
Exactly.
Right? Hey, if you're not getting something here, go over there.
Yeah.
I want you to get it.
Yeah.
Right? I want you to get it.
Yeah.
Why what do you think that come from with you? You know what I mean?
Dude, I think it's just like the people first thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not about me. Like, if I know we've had athletes or clients in general that'll go over there for whatever reason, and we've had some of theirs come over to us, and it's always just like, I mean, if you're training, and I think they do a great job over there. So if you're training there or here, wherever, like, you're getting better. And that's the goal of what we're doing. And like you said, obviously it's competitive, it's business.
Sure.
But there is plenty in this area for everyone to eat, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's cool. And we've kind of thrown the idea back and forth, but I'd love to get in a position where even like all of the fitness facilities, we have like just like a cool meeting. Like, we go get drinks or something and just like talk about how we can help you know what I mean? Obviously it would be kind of interesting with like throwing ideas out there, but I think it'd be cool if we could all work together. That's always something I've said. Especially when I first started, because like entering the space, I was already a little competitive. But it's not like I'm trying to, like, I've never poached anyone's clients. I think that's a little crazy, but I do think that if we could all work together on making the Delmarva area better, and I do think just by being competitive, I was thinking about this on the way over here, by being competitive, we are making the Delmarva area better, because everyone's trying to get a better facility, better technology, whatever it is, you know what I mean? Because around here, compared to up north or across the bridge, it just ain't the same. So if we can raise ourselves to that level together, and maybe through some competition too, I think that's great. And I think that's the end goal for all of us really, is to see this area grow and be able to compete with, especially like sports performance. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
football. I would love to see more kids come out of this area and go play Division I football or whatever sport. I obviously feel hockey and Delmar is pretty big. But be able to have the tools to get to that point versus the kids that are in Texas or Florida and they're playing year round and they got all kinds of crazy technology driven devices in the weight room and all that stuff. So I don't know. I think that's just kind of where it comes from, though. To answer your original question, is the people driven thing. You just want to see everyone be the best version of themselves so they can be.
Well, you just dropped gems there, and dude, I'm telling you, man, and I'm sure you're aware of it, but one, if there's not a reel made out of that, then we're firing our company. No, you dropped it really well, because here's what people don't understand, and I got into business the same reason. I thought that all the gyms were going to work together, right?
Yeah.
And you know what I mean, and it just wasn't the reality, and the reason why is because why I thought this in combat sports was what I thought in high school sports. I noticed that you had a lot of coaches, volunteers, parents start saying, my football player, my basketball player, my guy, right? No, motherfucker.
Yeah.
We are not world renowned. We are not D1 area, right?
Yeah.
We could be.
Yeah. Definitely, we got talent.
We have some talent, dude.
Hell yeah.
And I mean, we're getting people that are going to the league right now. The one kid from Delmar, right?
Dante,
just went to Miami, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
You knew him,
Hell
of course.
Yeah, we went to high school together.
Yeah. So he just went to Miami. I mean, kudos to him. We had there was somebody else that just went not too long ago in this area. But my point is when you have a mindset of this is my guy, my fighter, my boxer, my football player, now you're limiting the growth potential and potentially hindering that guy or gal. What I do for all my guys and gals here is like, look, I'd love to compete on the big stage, but the reality of it is we don't have enough people. We don't have enough people in the area to do that unless we band together.
Yeah.
So my gym ain't going to do it, even when we got all these members and all the gyms around here. It's just not going to happen. Or you might get that one who's special, but they're going to have to leave your gym because they need to be in a room full of lions. The same way with this. But if we banded together, we could raise the standard of the area. You could raise, and then you could start saying, hey, what's up with Baltimore?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up with Philly? Hey, what's up with Virginia Tech? Hey, let's start playing these big cities and be an entity now, right? And I think that, dude, that's what I love about you, and I'm so glad that you said that, because I wanted to have you here talking about that, because I knew that's where your mindset was, because I did my homework, I did my research, and I know that that's the way that we're going to grow. Yeah. That's how we're going to. 100%. I always think that, man, it would be so cool, right? Is the county has this issue with 3 schools and sharing the football field, and poor Mardella don't even have a football team. So I always thought that what they should do, if they could figure it out, is freaking get this parking lot right across the street, right, and create a huge stadium / basketball court, right. I'm talking about big, right? And then turn around and create performance fitness institutions inside there that everybody can be a part of and utilize. You could put what your mom needs to do at Pohanka. Lord, that highway is so dangerous. Put a walkway over top of the road, right? From that to the Civic Center. And then you could go back and forth, and you could have the basketball games there. I mean, you could do so much. Dude, or you could do the performance institution there and then do that there. So much. But that's what I thought it would be good. Great. You know what I mean? I mean, I was going to take a huge, an investor and a huge chunk of idea and vision, you know what I mean? But man, dude, we get all together. We start. I mean, and you don't have to limit it just one sport, 2 sports. You could do the whole thing.
Dude, hell yeah.
Yeah, and then you got Pure right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
that's what I was thinking.
there's so much right here that we can make this trifecta work. But it's just a matter of getting people to share that vision, and does it make sense? But I always push it. I always push this first. It's not about us. Yeah, it's about the kids.
Definitely.
And right now, I think you're seeing this. We're noticing that less people were in bars. We just went to Ocean City yesterday, right? We went to the beach. Left the beach at 5 o'clock, maybe 5:30. Yeah. Crossed 50 Bridge. Brother, I could see the last car as I'm going up on the bridge. Yeah. Coming in on a Sunday.
Damn.
Correct. And the week before July 4th.
Sheesh.
That has never happened.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Usually that line is all the way down past Rural Farms, right? But I could see the line coming in on a Sunday, which tells us that people are now more into the gyms, into fitness, into health and wellness and stuff like that than they are at the bars or spending frivolous money on vacations. And whether that's the economy or whether that's just the society we're in, we are in a more health-based world, and people are sitting here and they're spending their time, money, and efforts and energies into becoming healthier. We got all the AI science and all the technology science and all the hormones and everything that's coming out nowadays is helping people live longer. Why wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Where do we go from here, man? So we talked about politics. We talked about, A4. We've talked about a handful of things, man. Where do we go from here? What's on AJ's 5-year, 10-year, 20-year plan, man?
I don't know, man. Definitely with the politics thing, I think the reason why I haven't gotten back into it crazy is just because I just got married and like planning on starting a family.
Sure.
So probably when that gets to like, like a safe point, I feel comfortable with that. Might be something I look back into. I was actually the vice president of Del Mar Pop Warner for the last couple years. I'm not doing it this year. But dude, it's kind of where I was going to go with what you just mentioned. It's about the kids, which we could talk about if you want to. I don't know how much you're into like the youth sports side of things, but just being around that, dude, the parents and even like the refs and shit, they make it all about themselves. And it's so sad. It's so sad. Just like you were just talking about. I mean, it's a youth sport. I mean, it's literally like you come out for their kid. And kind of like we were talking about earlier with the gym and stuff too. It's not necessarily even about them getting good at football. It's about like learning the lessons you learned from football or whatever sport you're playing. You know what I mean? And the fact that, which it isn't even terrible around here. I've seen some videos on social media and shit where the kids or adults are getting in fights over like 10U football games, or they're betting like thousands of dollars on. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? You know what I mean?
Betting.
Yeah. Like I've heard stories too from.
I haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah, some of the coaches I've been around that have been down there. They're like, and people got like guns and shit.
If you're betting on high school or your child's football games, call the hotline now.
Yeah,
okay, just go get some fucking help. Sorry, but go ahead.
No, that's crazy, man. And it was like 9-10 I'm like, what are we doing? So I think that's somewhere else too that I don't know how we fix that, but just really making it about the kids again and their development, I think is super important.
I can tell you right now. I can tell you how you fix that right now. You develop high quality coaches, high quality programs, and you tell parents to shut the fuck up, refs to shut the fuck up, and stop relying on volunteers. Now, thank you, volunteers. Thank you so much, volunteers. Thank you, dads that sit here and you go up.
It's hard to even get those.
It is. Thank you. Well, we're about to. Right. Thank you for all the helps that you guys have done. Right. Definitely. Here's the thing, though. You know what I mean? We have to be there. We need more parents. We need more parents stepping in and 100%. Stepping up and not looking at it from mine, but looking at it from ours and looking at it for the future. The reality of a person going to the league, right? Let's talk about travel baseball. That's a big one, right? Yeah. Travel baseball, right? Little bit in my opinion, I have mixed feelings about travel baseball because if you know anything about it, one, they've done they've done research that like a huge percentage, I don't have the percentage off the hand, but a huge percentage of D1 athletes played multi-sports instead of just one sport. And then the injury rate is higher when you play just one sport because you're not developing the muscles in the right area.
Agility, Yep.
100%. So the multi-sports are what helps you build other muscles while you're on. You're wearing the muscle groups out. You're wearing the athlete out. You're wearing the parents' pocketbooks out. So we've seen huge research that D1 and professional athletes played multiple sports growing up in high school and stuff like that. Majority of your kids are not going to the league. Yeah. And that's what parents got to realize. We get them in here. They think their kid in jiu-jitsu is going to, first of all, what are you doing in jiu-jitsu? Yeah. There's not even a league. There's not even a thing that makes money. There's like the 0.1% are actually making money in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, right? Your parents, you're not going to the league, right? So we just need to hopefully build some character building, 100%. Some lessons, things like you're talking about, and have fun, like we've always talked about, right? But I think that's where you start. And I think, man, this is like, I don't know if this is going to go anywhere, but man, that's it. When everybody bands together,
100%,
and everybody understands it's about the kids, and everybody formalizes and trains. We're the only gym in the area that I know that we have all of our coaches are certified personal trainers. They're all background techs.
Hell yeah.
They all have CPR registration. They all have insurance.
That's
right?
Huge. Yep.
Yeah. Now they don't go and get the NASM. They don't go all that far, right? Yeah. Just enough to say, hey, we're legit. Yeah. And I'm going to invest in my craft as a coach.
100%.
And I'm going to do this because I don't pay for that shit. I'm going to invest in myself as a coach and do it on my own so that I can be a part of a program that is running. That's huge, dude.
It is.
But once you formalize that and have everybody together, now we're talking about making some real changes.
Exactly.
Now you can tell them parents to shut the fuck up or get out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Thank you for your participation. And we love Johnny and we love you too.
Yeah.
But you're here to be a fan. You're not here to be a coach.
Yeah.
You're not here, advocate for your child, of
ref or
course.
whatever, yeah.
But you're not here to be a ref. You know what I mean? This is about our program, man. So, hey, man, there you go. Run on that.
Yeah.
Run on that
Yeah,
alone
for
and
real.
you'll get voted,
Hell
man.
yeah.
Because I think it's a great why, man.
Yeah, I think that's part of too why we're so successful at A4 and why we get such a good like retention rates and all that, because the kids come in, they feel like it's all, because it is all about them. We talk about it in back rooms all the time. It's like, hey, the parent or even if it's a client, whatever, they're paying for this hour. You got to give them all you can in this hour. You know what I mean? And even outside of that, like we go watch games and stuff too. And we show them that we care about them. We're not there for us, like obviously we need to make money so we can pay our bills, but it's not about us, man. It's about the kids or whatever client we're working with and helping them develop. So I think that's why we're successful. And I'd love to see that, like you said, more so across just youth sports in general and everything. So,
well, I definitely think that's a conversation we'll have to revisit. I like the mastermind idea as well of coaches and gym owners and stuff like that. I don't think it's limited just to youth sports or combat sports. I think all across the board, it raises the bar, it raises the area. Look at Stephen Decatur's program, their wrestling program, man.
Yeah, we get a couple kids coming from there. The shit they're doing,
it's incredible, man.
Dude, y'all are awesome.
But they're bringing stuff
hats
in.
Off to them, yeah.
They're bringing other coaches
raising money.
in.
Dude.
Yes. And
look how many kids are sending to play in college. Too,
I know.
Compared to everywhere else, yeah.
And they get it. And I guarantee their parents ain't saying much.
I believe it.
You know what I mean? So, I think it's a conversation worth entertaining and continue to go. But man, I tell you, for me, dude, it's you said something about we need money to pay the bills. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily stop there. You know what I mean? Listen, I'm spending, and I know you feel the same way, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a person of passion, I'm spending way more hours with perfecting this craft, perfecting this business than I am with my family, than I am having fun, than I am, growing as a man or as whatever. I need to be paid handsomely for my talents because with money, yes, I can pay my bills and yes, I could do the things that I want to, but guess what? I also can make a difference. Yeah. And with money, guess what? We might be able to do this athlete complex. Exactly. So we might be able to bring in more talent or might be able to get a better performance 100%. To this. So people always look at they don't understand the power of the tool of money. They always look at the love of it and all that bullshit. And it's just not, man.
Yeah. Or even just reinvesting in whatever you're doing too. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or learning more. Yeah. Getting more certification.
Continuous education, man.
100%.
Oh man. So where can we find you, dude? Like we're wrapping up, man. This 45 minutes went by so fast, dude.
That's crazy.
So we got to get you back on here, man, for sure. But where can everybody find you? Just drop your socials, drop your location, wherever anybody can get in touch with the phone numbers, whatever, man.
Yeah. Definitely A4_training on Instagram. We're trying to blow that page up. It's been growing pretty consistently. We got a little creative team that's been working on it. You can find me, just AJ Angello. You probably look it up, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. I do have a coach page too. It's A4_coach AJ. Okay. So check that out. But
websites, anything like that?
A4trainingllc.com.
Got it.
Yes, sir.
Well, man, listen, dude. I'm just saying this, you know what I mean, to be real with you, man. Dude, it's guys like you, man, that give like guys like myself. I'm not an old guy. I'm 44.
So you look like you're like 30.
Thank you, man.
You look good, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. It's all them supplements went down. Just kidding. Now, it's you health based.
Hell yeah.
The 44-year-olds didn't look like this when I was coming up. But I always say this all the time. I say like it's my generation right now that people are listening to. The Andy Frisellas, the Ed Milet's, the things like that. You had a wave of these fucking social media bullshitters and quote unquote gurus that now being exposed, but it's people that are in the trenches, are building things that are growing. And I say that because, man, when we come across guys like you, dude, you know what I mean? And this isn't me up here. I'm so inspired and just so in love with the fact that we got other guys that have this passion that just want to go out there. You're hard working, you're committed to your craft. You could have chose any route that you chose, man. You chose to get in the fucking trenches, go hard with it, dude. And dude, I love that, man. I love that because it gives all of us older guys a lot of hope. And it also motivates us to do better too. You know what I mean? Because we're learning just as much as you are. And as you get older, you'll see, man, I'm still like 21 in my head.
I pretty feel that way. So
it is. But man, dude, just keep doing what you're doing, brother. And we're always going to be here to support. And I'm just so excited. I hope people share this episode and talk about it because what you're bringing to the table is it's old school values,
Yep.
old school work ethic, but a new way of doing it.
It's well placed.
And you're leading the show. You're leading the show because you're 24, you're young, you're strong, you're ambitious, and we need more of that, man. So thank you so much for coming on the show, man,
for having me,
and keep grinding, man.
Hell yeah.
Guys, that'll do it for another episode of Champ Talk with Branden Hudson, dude. Please, if you get value out of this episode, like, share, subscribe, and send it to somebody. Send it to another business entrepreneur, fitness entrepreneur, somebody getting in the world. I just think you get so many gems out of this episode, and man, we're gracious to have AJ on the show and stuff. Until next time, man, what are you doing today to become a champion?